Well, we're glad you're here.
There we
You're
go.
cheering
Yeah.
us on the water thing.
Hell yeah, I'm
Yeah,
cheering
yeah,
you on
yeah.
this.
Okay, so everybody's got the agenda for today. We're starting out. We don't have anybody new with us, so we've already said hello. But for those watching later, welcome, and you're more than welcome to join us in our next meeting or to any MLGW board meetings, which next one is this Wednesday at 8:30. It's the first and third Wednesdays of each month.
We
So.
strongly encourage you to
Yeah,
come.
the more people that speak out, the more probability of them actually listening to us and doing something. Otherwise, they will just keep on doing what they've been doing, which is selling Memphis out for big business, basically.
Yes.
So, that was the first thing. So the second thing, going back to MLGW water rates, residential versus commercial. We already know that MLGW has for its 2026 budget a 19% residential water rate increase. On top of our water has already been increased 49% since 2016 over the past 8 years. So it's substantial, and a lot of that is, in my opinion, to offset the business people here. If you can see in the rates,
Yeah.
they are getting deep discounts for using water instead of footing the bill. MLGW could be charging them what we pay and have a gray water facility ready to go, and then they just use that water to cool rather than our drinking water, which is running out according to what Protect Our Aquifer, the studies that they've been doing. So that's one of the things I'm going to comment on Wednesday and start pushing for that. And hopefully other members will be starting to speak up, either send a message into the Board of Commissioners before. You have to send it in 24 hours, literally, before the start of the meeting. So by Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning.
You have to send in your comment?
Yes, you
If
do.
if you're not going to.
If you're not
appear
gonna be in person.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but they had their cutoff. Didn't used to be until we started coming around. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh yeah, let's make it exactly 24 hours beforehand.
That's okay.
Well, it's ironic because they're supposed to have the agenda published 48 hours beforehand, but today it came out at 3 p.m. So
So you should have at least till 3 p.m. tomorrow.
yes.
I would
And,
argue.
for
and
the
I would,
good.
and I would point out
Mm-hmm.
that the Chamber of Commerce would probably go, well, whoa, how do you expect us to attract heavy industry? And don't forget that the Chamber, their biggest contributor is TVA. And they
So
have.
that tells us that they're in debt. That's
Yeah.
all
What do you
that
mean by
tells us.
biggest contributor? Like,
So the Chamber's a nonprofit, like TVA gives them money every year for their operations.
Yeah, so they're funded, the chamber is, well, they're trying
So I'm just pointing that out.
I didn't-
So if
educate me. I
the
did not know
chamber
how
says,
they
oh,
work.
whoa, we're never gonna be able to attract
Well,
business
the
if our water rates are higher.
Chamber has a bunch of funding sources, like what they're trying to get into now is managed contractual publicly funded agreements. So they're getting into that business, which I'm always, they suck. They really do. And then the other way that they're
Mhm.
funded is through what they call their chairman circle,
Mhm.
where the minimum is like $25,000, but you can pay a lot more too. So their chairman circle are the big corporations that which TVA would be one of those.
Which is a joke.
Right.
Because who is the chamber supposed to work in behalf of?
Well, I mean,
I
a good
thought it was the
chambers,
city.
but, well, a good well, our chamber works on behalf of major corporations and real estate developers. A good chamber really works for, helps small business. That's where your growth really is,
Yes.
but ours doesn't. Ours doesn't.
Well, of course, if
Interesting.
So I
they
just-
have the the chamber's executives are all big corporations, then, I mean, that's big.
Can I just ask a very naive question?
Mhm.
They're all business people. Are they actually employed? I thought they were all volunteers, the people at the Chamber of Commerce.
No, they're
No,
employed.
no, they're employed.
Yeah.
So this pays for their salaries?
Yeah.
Where does this
Yeah,
money
yeah.
go?
Yeah, it
Their
pays for their
operations.
salary. Yeah, and I mean, chambers, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the chamber having employees. I mean, our chamber is just I mean, there are other chambers that, you know, they're always gonna have a pro-business lean wherever you
Mhm.
go, but there's chambers that have a civic mindset.
Mhm.
Ours does.
Okay.
They just don't. I mean, like Nashville, you know, Nashville really got behind transit, and, you know, so you know, they do stuff, but ours is hard.
I just wanted to point out that when we talk about industrial rates being so low and why don't we have them pay what we
Mhm.
pay?
Mhm.
The chamber will probably step up and say, oh, that will be detrimental to our recruiting efforts, but they'll never mention that their biggest donor is the biggest user of water.
I mean,
Well,
this,
how would you answer that? If they said that, how would you refute that and say, no?
well,
that's not-
Ted
it's not
Townsend,
true."
Ted Townsend is on,
No,
Ted
no, I
Townsend,
mean,
Ted Townsend is on the record on Behind the Headlines
Mhm.
first of this year.
mhm,
And it blew my mind that you said this. It
Mhm.
blew it with all the pilots and everything, but it's on the record. You can look at PBS. He said Business Facilities Magazine said that Memphis is the most affordable city in
Absolutely.
the United States. I'm like going,
Absolutely.
oh my God. You know, why are we doing all these pilots? Why are we giving all this shit away?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's.
But that's what I'm
Great
saying.
idea.
So how if Chamber of Commerce comes back and pushes back on our pressuring MLGW to raise the rates, how do you
It's-
fight that? What do you
it's
say? No,
a
that's
scam.
baloney?
Just take it,
Probably.
like, say, like the fact that you're currying favor for the biggest user that wastes our water, dumps it in the river that we desperately need. It's our biggest long-term asset.
Mhm.
For short-term gain, they refuse to use gray water because, oh, that requires a little money of investment.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I'm like,
And
take
they're-
a portion of the investment that you put in the chamber and do what you need to do,
That
rather than misuse.
I
our-
just want to point out that
drinking
like, that's, the chamber will probably be the
They
first
will,
to
you're
belly
right.
up.
But
But
I'm
that's what
like,
I'm saying. So
and
what's
then-
what's a good?
And then point out that, well, let's talk about how much money the TVA gives you. Then-
so,
and then
so
whose
let me
interests
ask
are
you,
pushing?
speaking ratio wise, because I think that there's a space of argument because there is such a divide when you talk volumetric usage and you look at if you look at the customer base on the residential side and you do a ratio, comparison, still these people are getting much more of a deal.
course
I
they
think
are.
there's definitely room to say that we can make some adjustments with this.
Hey, I have a technical question here.
Mhm.
So I see these right here, okay? These listen, my understanding is, all right, these are metered customers, correct? I mean, aren't
That-
They must
that-
be because
that is-
Sam Hardiman got this from MLGW's reports.
okay, so what I'm getting at, aren't there other people that actually just have just direct wells
Yes.
and don't pay
Yes.
anything?
That is another
Yes.
problem.
Okay.
We were
That's
talking
another
about
problem.
that. That's another
That-
problem. And that is another issue that's taking our water.
And see, that's
because
what
they're getting free, basically.
What I will tell you is, I sent, and I got a file of all the wells and how much they drew out of it
Yes.
from,
Dr. Harper?
it's, Banbury, what's?
Okay, yeah,
Scott.
Scott.
Scott Banbury.
Mhm.
And that was back in 2018, so I was just curious, okay, how many more wells
Mhm,
we draw? So I sent the health department the
For
the
you.
FOIA with that as a sample.
Yeah.
They sent me back the same file.
Yeah.
The
Well,
exact, like, they're not
Joe-
even keeping up with it.
They're
Joe,
not.
you were at the meeting weren't you blown
Yeah.
away?
The
by
groundwater,
The
you were there.
groundwater, the Shelby County Groundwater, board, they're all volunteers. They're all understaffed. We saw that huge
Yeah,
chart.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like they can't even post the minutes, right? That was the
Right.
point of.
They have 13 employees over the health department too. It's like, you know,
Oh, the groundwater board.
yeah, 13 people.
So what the heck do they do?
Well, that's a good question. And then they only have one vehicle. All this ARPA money came in.
That's
We
what
only have
Greg
one
told me.
vehicle. I'm like going, and I went back out to the
Yes,
Shelby
did
County.
you-
I went down to Shelby, I went hiking after the meeting. There was like 7 trucks sitting out there that had been retired.
Yeah,
I mean,
so they could have been, or like what MLGW just gifted a bunch
Yeah.
of their older vehicles to.
The
Shelby
question
County
is
Schools,
how
right?
old those vehicles were, how long they had been in service,
Well,
you know.
regardless, if they only have one between 5 employees, which was their main complaint at the meeting, was they didn't have enough. They couldn't get out to all the wells
Yeah,
to
but
get
Joe
all the.
already said there were vehicles
Yeah.
just sitting. So we know that says that that's not true to me.
Or they've been allocated to a different department within.
It looks like they're gonna get the auction. So it looks like they got-
Were they that old?
No, they didn't look so bad. They
No, they
posted
look
them
pretty
on-
good.
on the
They-
Facebook
they-
page.
They were tower vehicles.
No, I'm not talking
70,
about like
80,000
on some
miles.
water. He's talking about at the health
you see
department.
it
Shelby
on-
County, no, this was about the Shelby County, Shelby Farms,
Yeah.
you know, just sitting out there in the parking lot, just there.
No, I didn't see, I didn't
Yeah.
see.
They're retired.
Yeah, they look fine. I mean, but so that goes back to, again, this is probably our number one asset. I don't know. Memphis has many assets, otherwise, you know, cheap labor, right? That's another big issue.
That's not an, yeah.
That's not
That's
MLGW
a
necessarily
ripoff.
related, but so why are we not protecting our number one asset? Why are our leaders not? So,
Thank you. I consider groundwater to be one of MLGW's.
Absolutely.
it's got to be,
needs, and
especially in the
Right.
coming century, that's what they're predicting. It's gonna
And we're
be
not,
worth more than
was-
gold soon.
We're not the only, I mean, you know, there are other aquifers throughout the country and they're having
Where's
the same
ours is
issues.
the largest though.
No,
Yeah.
ours isn't. The one I was looking up to see, I think it's in Florida, that's the largest. But yeah, ours isn't the largest.
Is it the cleanest though? Like largest and cleanest?
I know that St. Jude here, what I've heard, and I don't know this, but that one of the cost benefits here is they don't have to, based on the testing that they do here and all the stuff that they do, they don't have to filter the water. They just
Mhm.
pull it right
Right.
out, and then there's not a lot of filtering that they have to do.
Right.
And it supposedly reduces cost and stuff like that. but-
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean, like cleanest,
Excuse
pure,
me,
yeah.
just using the tap
right,
Yeah,
versus.
straight out of the tap water.
I didn't know if you were saying they have a well or like.
no,
No.
they may have a well.
Who's
they're not-
St. Jude?
St. Jude's, they're
No,
not on the
St. Jude-
list.
Well, they are.
I
If
think
you
they
see the
do.
top 100,
Yeah.
protect our
But-
aquifer, put that out.
They-
But I
These are
would
just
say
the
that
top
St.
10.
Jude has 4,000 highly paid employees.
Mhm.
They get to use water because they,
Yeah.
you know, like, they're not the ones ripping us off.
Well, I think one issue are, requirement protections for our water, our aquifers, because it sounds like these people can do whatever the heck they want as far as digging. What protective measures are in place?
Mhm.
I haven't come across.
Not, do you remember, Joe? They listed, it was like $100 drilling fee.
Which
it's
is
like a
nothing.
it's not,
And then they
It-
had to.
That's
pay
nothing.
the
You know
drill
how
stuff.
deep they
Yeah.
have to drill?
it's nothing, and that's one of the things that POA is pushing very hard,
Mhm.
is a conservation.
Yeah.
Some sort of measure where they handle that and track it and collect a higher fee to fund conservation and measures and stuff like that. So they're really.
They're
on top of it.
asking that this be done by the Shelby County Groundwater
Right.
Control Board.
Yes.
Who is it doing absolutely nothing?
Right.
Not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that MLG&W, I mean, they're the ones who distribute our drinking water and bill for it. They ought to be really concerned about.
You
clean
would
water.
think,
Really
You
concerned.
think?
you would think.
You think?
Well,
think.
what was his name? He's MLGW
Oh,
representative.
he
on the
was,
board,
who? I didn't get the
What's
name
his
of
name?
who represented.
He was pretty
Montgomery
much
Water.
leading the whole meeting,
Chris
sitting next
who?
to the guy with the microphone.
I don't know. I don't, I mean, that was my first time at that meeting.
You
so
didn't get
I
his
don't- I
last
just don't-
name.
I didn't, you know what, if you went back and listened to the recording, because they all had to do roll call, he's in there. He says Chris something, it's like, I'm not sure. But, he was there representing MLGW. But, yeah, I mean, they hadn't even read the minutes beforehand. They were given 10 minutes to read the minutes during the meeting, so. I mean, it was the longest 2-hour meeting that got, I don't know, a whole lot didn't get done, so,
Question,
yes.
so these commercial rates. Do other municipalities have that too?
Yes.
What, how much of the, I'm assuming that what our argument is that ours gives bigger discounts than other places, or, I figured other places do that as well,
They do.
but what is the difference between what we're doing and?
What has it been, almost a year ago, I tried to secure that from Julie. She's
Oh,
not
Julie
on.
was
You
gonna
could-
come,
you
yeah,
could-
we could ask Julie.
I mean-
I know I already asked Julie,
I mean, you
remember?
could
I was
start,
waiting on
if
data
you-
that I
if you
never
give it
got.
Yeah, they
So
have,
that makes me,
they have the rate study, which you may believe that or may not believe it, but it's a start to get,
well, you do your own.
yeah.
Some other companies do publish if they're publicly owned, of course, yes, they should be publishing their rates, like these rates.
Yeah, not so we don't know.
So you gotta leave.
You
here in
all
a
know,
minute.
have our water rates, right?
You have to leave here in a minute, Jim. All right, so before, I just wanna make sure we talk. Do you have any
That's-
thoughts on this number 3 here on the board expansion?
I just forwarded to you guys to the email,
Okay.
and I'd like you to publish it. I think the board expansion, I read it, I think it is to curry favor with the Tennessee Valley Authority. No, I know, it's everything, I go back to that because in the RFP is the city versus everybody else. Because the suburbs instinctively don't do whatever people in Memphis want. And Memphis won an RFP, so the suburbs didn't. And they obviously not having representation, I understand the beef. But suddenly
Mhm.
MLGW wants to be magnanimous and represent. It's not.
Yeah, that's what, to me, it feels like either a decoy or they know
It-
Memphis citizens are going to have to vote if city council puts it on the ballot as a referendum.
Right.
And we're gonna vote it down, and that's just gonna divide us further, Memphis
And I
versus
say
the
go, and I
suburbs.
say go on and split it into MLGW.
Well, if we're divided, it's easier to control us, we're not paying attention to
What do you
they're-
mean when
they're
you say
doing.
split it into?
Have a,
You want the suburbs to go
have
off and get their own, they already have their own water.
kind of do, yeah.
Why?
So they'll stop belly aching so much. I mean, it's just.
Hey, we have our own water system in Germantown.
Yeah.
We have 3 water tanks.
Mhm.
Collierville has their own water, and they push their water underground like Memphis does. I don't know how Bartlett pushes their water, and Millington has their own water.
It's about electricity. That's all it is.
Yes.
It's
What
strictly-
we don't have is a seat on the board at Memphis Light, Gas and Water.
Let me just throw this out here. For thought. All of the smoke screen that's going on regarding this, when we get down to the facts, what is the responsibility of a board? Who do they represent? A board of any organization, of any,
The owners.
exactly. That's who the board represents,
Right.
the owners. And who are the owners of Light, Gas and Water?
Supposed to be the people.
Supposed to be the citizens of Memphis.
Right.
And all of that has been thrown out the window.
Right.
They're just washing that fact and they want to say, oh, it's about the customers. Oh, no, the board acts in behalf of the owner investors.
Yeah, and I think that they've got to put some stuff, I'm not totally against, they'd have to show something. I just don't see them showing anything.
Yeah, I'm not totally against it, other than the suburbs want their 1/3 vote to run everybody else from the
But
city.
when we get down to the fact again of what a board's responsibility is,
Correct.
there is no 1/3 vote. The board is to represent those who are the owners. They act in the best interest of the owners and the solvency of the organization. When it comes to customers having input, how many companies that you support allow you to input?
I don't disagree with you at all.
I'm
I'm
just
saying-
stating the facts.
This is.
Well, Glenda?
This is for TVA's purposes.
Hmm.
When, before you got here, Ray held up a map of the power that was out in the county, and part of Germantown's power was out. And we live in Germantown, so we are very much affected by
Oh,
MLG and W.
I understand that absolutely. I'm not I'm not negating
I didn't bring it.
the service that is who the customers are. But what I'm simply saying is when it comes to the responsibility of a board and who they are supposed to be speaking in behalf of, a board
That's unbelievable.
represents the owners.
That's horrible.
So to go outside of that and say, we're gonna allow you representation simply because you're a customer, that is not what a board does.
This is executive management
Yes.
pushing it to keep Carl Sludwitz and me in our position, in our place.
Yeah.
Personally, it's personal.
And it's not to negate any customer at all, because I am here to advocate for the customer. But when we get down to facts, see, that's a smokescreen.
I
That's
think
another
one of the
thing
best
altogether.
questions that came up.
No, We're
because
not getting a vote.
it's broken with what's going on with the advisory, non-voting people.
Yes.
What's broken?
Yes,
And there wasn't a good answer. There
Yeah.
really wasn't. I mean, it's.
basically, when you, because the neighbor, what is it, the advisory board, the,
Neighborhood. well,
what's
there's
his
two
name,
of 'em.
Gordo,
Yeah.
or what's
Guido,
it?
yeah,
Who, Guido?
Aaron.
Guido,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Lewis.
Yeah, he's a part of it and, what's
What
his
is he
name
part
from, the Sierra
there's-
Club? The tall guy, I can't think of his name.
Ward Archer.
No, that speaks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What's his name? Ray?
David,
Tall, that from Sierra Club.
Yeah.
Can't think of his name. Anyway,
Tim Clark, I'm sorry. sir.
Dennis Lynch.
yes, Dennis,
Okay.
yes. So they're all part of that advisory board for like Gas on Water, but I'm like, what the heck do you do?
No, yeah, I've already got, and I don't wanna out who this person is. Who is on both, there's a neighborhood committee, there's also the advisory committee with like citizen liaisons for the 2045 plan.
Mm-hmm.
Basically says it's a
It's
lot
a
of
joke.
waste of time.
Yeah.
There's no it's only listening, there's no dialogue.
Who
So-
are they listening to?
Who do you think, MLGW?
So Doug comes and
Yeah.
does a presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the community liaisons that they just
Shut
started.
him down
Yeah.
like we shut
they
them
don't get to
down at the community.
Have a
meeting.
discussion. It's
No.
just, they have a meeting, they come in, listen to what he's got to present them, and that's it.
That's pretty much the gist of it, yeah.
So why are they so silent?
Well, I don't know that there's like, it's like a PowerPoint presentation type setup.
But just like we halted their PowerPoint presentation in that little community meeting, I'm like,
I don't
come
remember
on,
us
people.
stopping it. I think they passed the microphone.
No,
around.
no,
Good
we,
question.
we halted.
Most of these groups in town, they're just not that, they're very politically correct. They're not,
No, I called,
it's politically correct, they don't raise hell, yeah.
I called that
MLGW
dormant.
Yeah,
Community
they're kind of-
advisory group.
They're kind of.
There's two separate groups.
Yeah,
I didn't know
like
that.
Micah, you
Well,
know.
there's a
I
new
read
one
that, I
for the
probably thought
2045
that
plan.
was
Yeah.
all the same thing. So what's
I
the
mean-
difference?
The one is for that new 2045 plan that Doug McGowan has put forth, which the timing was off because we still have billing issues. We still have, all these other, we still have water issues and all this other stuff. So they've put that on pause. The other one is a neighborhood. It's called the MLGW Neighborhood Advisory Council.
Mhm.
And it meets, I think, 4 times a year. But the person on the inside who was telling me that they passed along the notes and it was pretty much, just, we're here, so you listen, kind of. So not really advising the neighborhood versus,
So both of these
Dialogue.
they're both something that MLGW put together.
Exactly.
oh, yeah.
That's
They're
the
two
first,
sets.
that's the
I don't
first
understand why they
light
would have
bulb.
two.
Cause Doug wants to spotlight the 2045 plan.
Mm.
The advisory council was in place before Doug came aboard.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that it even exists and you don't even know about it is an issue.
That's why, I don't know why they wouldn't have just scrapped it when they decided they were going in another directions on how they were gonna do this. Why not just say, hey, everybody on the advisory board, we're starting this. new
Who,
thing. We're gonna
MLGW?
Go ahead and bring you into that and we're gonna add some more people to it. It doesn't make sense to have two.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm telling you, Doug wants, it's the big thing, the
I
2045.
know, so just scrap the other one.
Oh, well,
That's what I'm
The
saying.
2045 plan is so far in the distance. that-
Yes.
That it's,
Right.
they could say, oh, we're working on it and we're going,
Yeah.
everything else is.
Yeah. And,
Just-
and all he wants to do is tie everything that you have a question about in terms of monetary usage and funding, he'll say, but it's going towards, it's
Right.
to lay the infrastructural foundational improvements and all.
That's the reason that they do that on the vision stuff all the time, but that's the reason I think it's so important that we're tracking how they're deploying this capital
Yes.
expend right now.
Yes,
And they're very far behind the first 2 months. And they
Yes.
haven't sent me the financials for March.
I was just gonna ask you, have you got the word
So,
yet? Yeah.
I mean, they're terribly far
Yeah.
behind. And,
oh, they say they're only a month behind.
No, that's not true. And
no, not, I'm talking about, well, they're far behind, they're behind on their financial,
releasing them,
releasing. them.
publicizing them. Yeah.
And then as far as being behind on their capital spend to date,
Mm-hmm.
they're out of, first 2 months, they're very far behind, very far behind.
Cause the last presentation
across the
that they
board.
did, well, I can't think of her name,
They're
blonde
like
chick
60%
that does the
Mm.
PowerPoints at the board meetings and talks about the spend all over.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I know who you're talking about.
that wasn't her presentation.
No.
She said we're on target, we're on target, we're on target. There were maybe
no,
a
no.
couple of areas where she said they were
They're not even
slightly,
close, not even close,
so.
not even
So are
remotely
you
close.
are you going to address that on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, first of all,
Specifics,
I'm gonna,
Joe,
yeah,
specifics?
yeah,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about who's going to the board meeting on Wednesday.
I'm going on Wednesday, yeah.
I'm
Can
going on
you-
Wednesday.
Are you, oh,
You can
yes.
go.
I haven't been to the last couple.
I know, I
Everybody
haven't either.
needs to
I
speak.
haven't been
Can
able
you-
to. This is the
oh,
first time I can go.
Not sure if I can.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm serious. If we could get 10 people there to speak, we
Bruce,
need to.
Any chance
bombard
you can
them.
come?
We need to.
You know what? I don't have a car at this minute. My car broke and I've got a new one that'll be here
People,
Wednesday, I hope.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
They
Well, you
have,
can still
uh,
listen in. I
an
mean, it'll be
online-
streamed.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They say.
Yeah, they do. They'll pay attention because they recognize when a city council member is
But
watching.
I'm really blown away. that
No,
we
I'm saying,
have- that
I'm
we
sorry,
have,
Joe.
you know,
Online
Doug
tracking
said-
as
Doug-
far as their projects and where they're lining
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
'Cause
I'm
he was
sorry.
asking about
I don't think
treatment.
that-
They
I'm
said-
sorry.
They said they're
There's-
about on
there-
target, but I'm pretty,
Yeah,
much Doug said
multi-tax
all
and-
these power outages were
Yeah.
due to the trees, or 60% of them.
Mhm.
And then you see that outage map, 5,000. We didn't have any wind come through here.
No,
That's
There was,
what I,
we had some rain, but no wind.
but Ray, what, was it Saturday?
That's
When
what I-
there wasn't even any
Saying
rain.
Marcus, they had-
It was
And there were
yesterday,
like
yeah.
over 10,000 people out,
Oh, really?
according to the map. Yes,
Mhm.
it
For-
didn't make any
For
sense.
what?
Yeah.
In Raleigh Bartlett area, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I live in Raleigh Bartlett area.
Yeah, me too.
Thank God, I didn't have any
Yeah, you're
power
right, it
issues,
was
so I'm
Saturday.
wondering where the problems were.
This was,
This is
you
Saturday.
took a picture of that?
Every day I
Yeah.
take a look. How are my photos on my phone? Are
Oh, it's
how many
3971 is what it said, customers effect.
Yeah.
No, well,
You can touch the picture and see more, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
the
it was
top
more
part.
than that based on the areas. And then some were so spotty, it was ridiculous.
It was like a checkerboard.
Yeah. I'm
That's,
like,
that's so bad. I mean, what's so insulting is we just approved this electrical rate increase and they're so far behind the first 2 months. It's hard. It really is.
So John,
Yes.
can you can you two get together on a specific area that perhaps he can hone in on regarding that? As for, like, if you're going to deal with water, he can deal like with the electrical and
Or are
he
you gonna
wants to
speak
do
about the
tree
financial?
trimming.
Huh?
What, like,
You
let's
know what I'm
organize
saying?
our comments.
There's two things that I'm outside, unless there's something that, a lot of times you don't want people to get up there and say the same thing. Just so you can get thematically
Reiterate,
establish that
reiterate.
there,
Well, all right,
that there
we
is.
could do that, or
There is,
if
but,
there's several
but the
issues.
two things I'm gonna talk about is really how far behind they are.
Mhm.
And if they don't give me the financials on Tuesday, that's gonna be another concern. You're not getting the financials out.
Mhm.
And then the third thing I want to talk about is there's been grinder, table grinder.
Yes.
It's getting huge amounts of
That's, have you looked at that?
contracts after McGowan took over, and they're getting a $44 million for water filtration, which they're not a utility.
That's what we
water
got, but we
filtration.
gotta have our facts. I've got to know exactly
$44
I
what.
see them all everywhere, but I.
That's
Now,
what I was.
and I'm not saying that I'm not saying, but they get, it's like they didn't get any contract from LGW. Doug gets the deal, and now all you grinder, table grinders getting contracts that are.
Are you familiar with them, Ruth?
they're all-
Well, you know what? I worked with one of their wives back in the 70s at a pharmacy just because she didn't have a job and she wanted to work, and we worked at the same place. And now I think about where she is in life.
But what ends up happening here in Memphis is two contractors who get all the business, Montgomery Martin, grinder, table grinder. It's like,
There's
I mean,
only two? Okay.
I
and
mean-
Turner gets quite a bit. too.
Full service commercial and industrial construction firm.
I think they're around.
Grinder, table grinder? Yeah, they're right over there by Rick Newber.
They're
YMCA.
right there at,
Yeah, that's what.
Winston, Linfield.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not a good contractor, but I mean, it's just like, it's just odd they were non-existent in LNG now.
So the-
No, you said my thought.
So what are the themes back for the meeting for Wednesday? Speak up on industrial water rates?
Yes.
I mean, or like the top 2 or 3?
I'm definitely gonna speak on that.
So what are we exactly gonna ask for? As far as, like, I'm looking at these rates,
Mm.
which, I mean, until you get to the biggest of the users, the discount isn't that deep. But,
What do you mean? All of these have massive discount.
well, if you
It's
look
a
at,
tier.
you looking at, yeah, I'm looking at the cost
Yeah.
per gallon, so what we pay as a residential customer is less than the three top, I mean, only the three top tiers are more. I mean, have a bigger discount. Other than that, like, commercial 31 to 100 pays more than us, commercial up to 30 pays more than us, residential outside the city pays more than us. So it's just those three tiers of the
Mhm.
largest users that it's.
No. The problem is, after they get through, these companies, all of these companies, after they get through using only 30 CCFs of water, only 30, okay? There are some residents that can use 30 CCFs of water. So after,
Volume of gallons that they're
Yes.
sucking up is where the money
Yes.
is just.
and once they get through the massive amounts that they use, they get discounts for. That's what this tier is telling you,
The cost per gallon is what I was looking at.
cost per CCF. That's, I hear
Well,
you,
either
cost,
way.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's just broken up different.
Yes.
So what I'm asking is, are we asking that they pay the same rate? Like, everybody pays the same rate across the board? Are we asking for those rate
We're asking
discounts to
for
be
the-
adjusted?
We're
Are we
I would
asking you to get
for-
rid of the
Protector-
top tier? and just-
Protector Aquifer is lobbying for the more that you use, the
The
more you pay.
pay.
Okay,
This is backwards. The
Yeah.
more you use, the less
Less
you
you pay.
pay. And the biggest users, pay the least,
That's true.
that's the problem.
so let me say this. Cause when we talk that's why I'm saying we need to look at it from a ratio perspective. Cause when we talk massive volumes of use, and you do a comparison, like just say on an average, every resident uses 10 CCFs a month, okay? And you take like 500,000 residents, and you say that equates to this much usage. And so it's like every company that uses over that, what can we say you should pay to level the playing field?
Yeah.
I don't think it's realistic for us to say let's scale everything, you're gonna use more. They're not gonna do that.
No.
They are not.
That's why I
going
was
to do
asking
that.
earlier, if other municipalities and water companies
They
give
do.
discounts as well.
They
It
do.
would be
They do.
crazy from an industrial side where they're looking, like
Yeah.
trying to bring a company in, they were like, well, we get a discount on water everywhere, but then Memphis charges more for water. And they've got plenty of it. What's going on with that? So that, I was just trying to figure out if our goal is to flat rate for everybody, or is our goal to get rid of maybe the top tier and bump them down to the next one? Cause their discount is too steep? What is our goal?
I would
with
say
that?
that our goal should be the same as protect our aquifers, because they want to preserve our water and not let it get absolutely sucked up by giant companies with teeny tiny number of employees. And if they do that, as you mentioned earlier, if we reversed this to where the more you use, the more you pay, a lot of that money could go to a gray water.
Yeah. And then
And,
it would be a
and
win-win.
then reduce the
Do we
cost.
have they given a price tag on the gray water plant?
No,
They haven't even
They,
researched it.
no, they refuse
Okay.
to, they just.
they have that
I don't
small
know if that was
one
something
that's
they had
right down
discussed
by
already.
President.
They
Biden.
looked
Yeah.
at it, but they claimed it was going to cost too much money.
So that's separate from the water treatment plant that's down the street from where X is going.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That's
They-
Maxim.
I-
Maxim.
I would just protect our aquifer.
So this is
is
my
they
problem.
It's literally
Pam.
next
This
door.
is my problem, like what I just said.
That's right there.
We need to be realistic in what we present. And to
That's
go,
why
to
I'm-
walk in the door and say, and let's reverse this tier and have the same breakdown that is on this page, but tier it up for everyone, that's not going to happen.
Okay,
I would ask Sarah Houston for a one pager.
I would just like to say, the way that I have seen MLGW board and especially city council operate is MLGW gets to city council, they ask for 50% more than what they need.
I hear
City
you.
council comes back and says, well, how about we only give you this? That's how much they really wanted to begin with.
I
So
understand.
there's nothing wrong with us doing the same thing, using the same strategy with MLGW. And compromising.
But I would hook up with Protect Our
Mhm.
Aquifer and just, and lean on them.
Does
That-
she have a
that's-
tier?
Yeah, she's putting something together. She's gonna be there on Wednesday.
Okay.
She's coming up with.
But we need, I'm
the-
saying we
what
need
she
to be
thinks
on the
cost
same
would be.
page.
Yes.
That's what I'm,
And I.
That's what I was trying to
send-
figure out, just as
send
far as
whatever-
us going in there
if Sarah's
Wednesday,
able to
what are we
get that.
saying?
Yep. I'll send it to you.
I mean, because that would be such a huge step.
Yeah.
it would.
for
And something,
relieving
this is totally, I mean, you can see how unfair this is. I mean, there's
Yes.
no question about that. So where can we bring it? And of course, we're going to cushion ourselves,
Mm.
but I'm like, I don't think it's wise to come off totally outlandish and crazy.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
And that's what Protect Our Aquifer is avoiding.
Mm.
She's done. a
Okay.
good
I was
job
always
of
gonna
doing
say,
that.
she, yes,
Okay,
they're not.
I just haven't
super
seen her,
experienced.
I would like to, I would like to
So you
see
don't- I
what
don't
she's
think
offering.
that- It's good to
Thanks,
see
Jen.
you asking them. to
You
flip that
too.
structure.
I'll look at what
Comes
you
off-
Where
sent
did
me
y'all, did you
later.
go, you just got back from vacation, didn't you?
Boy Scout camping.
You already out on vacation.
Where'd you go?
To the Scout reservation at 17 Boy Scouts and 2 other.
What
guys.
area?
So no
Near
sleep.
between Knoxville and Chattanooga.
Oh, okay.
It was great. It was
Fun,
very-
fun, fun.
I forwarded you the Smart City blog.
I saw that. I haven't had a chance.
I
to
encourage
read
you
it.
guys to subscribe to that. It comes to your email and they
Okay.
let MLGW have it over the highly choreographed rollout of the Elon.
Did
Musk.
they?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send it to
And
you.
then
Okay,
let
yes.
MLGW have it about the board expansion. Because
Cool. Okay.
it's a great blog.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Jan.
you.
So, yeah,
All right.
So,
Bruce,
yeah, that
I
was
feel
my
like, were
concern
you
was-
about to say something and,
Oh.
you got interrupted?
No, I was waving goodbye.
Oh, you're just waving. Okay.
Oh, to June.
Okay. Just making sure.
Sorry.
All right.
So, yeah, that was my concern. Was
Good.
one, everybody being on the same page with what exactly we're asking for, and two, like you said, not going in and asking for something that they just cover their ears because
Right.
it sounds so outlandish.
Right.
If they're asking to basically reverse these rates where the higher pays more and like, if that's not I'm not saying these companies necessarily chose to be here based off of that. Some of these companies might have even been here before these rates even
No,
existed in this
no,
structure.
these rates they've always had.
So, I mean,
I don't think changing their water rates is gonna be enough for a company to move though. I
to
don't think
move,
it's enough.
no,
No.
but their argument would be attracting. more.
Yeah, that's going to be their argument,
Because
absolutely.
if
How can we
if
attract? new
XAI
people? You
is
might be
is
given tax structure.
XAI could have gone anywhere. But if they chose here, that one of the reasons why they might have chosen here is because the rate for water is considerably cheaper than somewhere else. It's definitely a reason why a company like that would open here versus
Mm-hmm.
open, on the West Coast somewhere where the water is a shortage. So then they're gonna charge for a premium anyway. Because we have, even if it's, going down, we still have a plentiful source. So our rates are cheaper than some other places. So it just kind of depends on what the industry is and how much they're using, whether that's a determining factor. Do I think they would leave? Nobody probably will leave once they've invested the money to get here. It's drawing more in will be their counter argument.
But see, these rates have been on the books for like 20 years, right? At
Mhm.
least
Longer
probably.
than that.
How
Lo-
many companies have been drawn in just by these rates? You know what I mean? So I think
I don't
that
know
wouldn't
how
be
long
the only
companies have
reason.
been here.
These companies have been here.
I know
So,
some
I
of
mean,
companies
you know,
are-
Tennessee Valley, PMC, Biogenics has been here, Valero has been here, Kellogg's has
Where
been
is
here,
PMC?
I think it's down on President's
That's over
Island.
there too.
No, PMC is located where that, where Plow Incorporated used to be, or the Bear Building is on Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, did they take over that?
Yeah, it's just that they back up to that.
Oh, okay.
Jackson.
Post.
Yeah. Going right out Jackson, out
Just
towards Austin P.
Before it goes Austin P,
Mm.
before we
Yeah.
go around.
If you
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back
Okay.
going towards,
You come,
Warford,
if
out-
you come to Austin P, once you
Out of
come
Warford.
south and it curves.
they're
It's
on
on
board.
Warford.
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah, past that.
Uh,
They've
to
been
get-
here,
But I was
they've
just
been
trying to
here a
figure out-
long time.
I wasn't familiar with that one.
Yeah, all of these, Riviana, I mean,
PMC was Humco.
thank
It
you.
used to be
Kim,
Humco,
or Kim?
Humco, it's
HU, okay, HUM,
HUMKO.
yes,
I knew
yes.
the owner.
Okay.
One of the owners, Copal.
Yeah, Riviana Foods has been here long
I
time.
used to work out there.
Now-
And what are they mining?
Who?
Covoro.
Oh,
Comoro,
now,
you know
I'm
what-
not familiar with them. That's the one.
do you know what Covoro mining mines?
No.
Mining
Look them up. I have never.
See, but there's some people here that are big water users that are not on this list.
True.
But they got
Like-
the wells.
like-
I can show you if you, I'll
Like,
forward it to you.
like,
where did I put it? What is this? I did too, where did I
who's
find
the one? Blue City, the brewery.
Yes.
They're one of them. DuPont out there is another one.
Yes, how did we forget
The other
DuPont?
one is, huge is,
So are you suspecting that these places
oh,
have wells of their own?
Soleil, SOLAE,
That is the question.
Soleil.
I doubt that brewery has their own well.
Did they have a
Right.
list of, well owners of, cause these are the commercial wells with the map, right?
Yeah, right.
Do we know who those wells belong to?
No, it wouldn't point it out. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get a list of. I was trying to get a list of,
Mhm.
a list of them.
And is it possible for them
I'll
to
send
share
it.
those?
Huh? Yeah, I'll share it to you.
No,
I
is
see
it
what-
possible for them to share their well?
With,
Oh, no, they're not gonna share.
Well, it depends.
I mean, they have a direct pipe.
So
Yeah.
let's say
But that would
hypothetically, I opened a brewery
Yeah.
and I had my own well.
Mhm.
And then you wanna open something, or whatever,
Yeah,
and you know I've got a well.
yeah,
To avoid running up your costs,
yeah.
is it possible for companies to share their well with another company and just say, hey, you pay me so much a month or annually, and you can just come get water.
Well, we wouldn't want that to happen
I'm
because
like,
they're
they're not
getting
gonna
free
do that.
water out of
Yes.
the ground anyway.
Yes.
We wouldn't want that to happen.
I think they'd
No,
have to.
That
get some
doesn't
kind of
mean two
permit, though.
guys running
They do.
businesses probably
They'd
wouldn't.
have
I
to
don't know.
get that cleared by city
Yeah,
council
they-
or Shelby County Commission.
And
wouldn't
that's
they?
the
Some kind of
other
permit.
thing, cause I thought the groundwater, control board was responsible for issuing the, permits.
I mean, they are.
That's sad.
But if they're not taking into account for how much is being used, how do they know? First of all, they don't know how much they're using. So
No,
there's
they
no
don't,
way
'cause
for
it's
them
not
to
being metered.
gauge. So there's no way for them to gauge whether they're using more. Like,
John, you are so right.
if I got a buddy who wants to open a brewery and I've already got one because I run DuPont,
Yeah,
and then my son wants to open a brewery, he can just come pump as much water out of his well.
For all we know, it could be
Transport it
going
across to
on.
his company he wants. And hey, all right, you know,
I mean, for
pay
all we
me-
know, it could be going
pay
on.
me $5,000 a year and you can come, you know, load up your water tanks and take them back over to your business and do whatever you need to do.
Hmm.
Cause you know, well's already here.
Yeah.
It's not costing me anything.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for the water by volume. So,
I'm not paying for the water, period.
but you say
Yeah.
that the county water
The Shelby County Groundwater Control Board.
is who is supposed to be accounting for how much coming? Are they
Yeah.
supposed to account for how much is coming out of the well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They're-
but it's not metered, so how do they do it?
I mean, they have, well, they have a little counter on there that tells supposedly.
But what's the purpose? They tell how much is coming out so they can do what? They don't bill.
Is it limited? Is
It's
there a-
free
is there- is it
water.
a cap?
Are you sure they're tracking that?
Well,
Now,
I
if
mean,
it's got
that's
a cap,
supposed to
then
be. I'll
everything
send y'all,
else.
I'll send y'all the spreadsheet of how they were doing it at one point, but Scott and now, Sarah can tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Scott, Emery,
We
but you
need
know,
it.
I'm
We
not,
need to
that's not
have a
my
meeting.
expertise. I was just curious. I said, okay, how many more wells have they punched in the ground? Because the reason I'm tracking it is we're giving these, like PMC has a well, so I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, they got this,
They do?
but PMC has a well too.
oh, well.
So I'm saying, okay, they're getting, they're getting free water and yet they want to tax a pilot. Wait a second, you're getting free water and you want pilot?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're companies that get free water out of the ground and get. Well,
Nobody on this list should be getting free water.
what?
Why are they on the list?
That's why I'm wondering.
That's what
Do
I
they
am
have
a little,
to cap for
I'm a little
how much they
confused.
put?
Now, I understand TVA pays for water for million.
Mhm.
I've often heard that.
These are only the ones who pay.
But he's
MLCW.
saying that he knows PMC has a well.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, now,
sending,
I'm
I'm gonna send y'all my
And
file.
this
that I
number
got
is
from
what they're
Scott.
paying. Right.
Yeah, that's the trackable usage based on
I'm
billing.
wondering
And I need to
if
know
there's
where
a
she
cap
got
on
this
those wells.
information from. I need to talk
Who?
to Sarah.
This
Once they use.
This
so
is
much,
from
then
Sam
they have to
Hardiman's
pay.
article that was in the paper.
Where did he get his information?
He said he got it from MLGW.
Hmm.
I swear to God, he put the link in there and when you click
Sam
on it,
Hardiman,
it clicks up
Sam-
MLGW.com's
Yeah,
main webpage. And I was like, Sam, that's not how you cite a source, but I'm an academician. What do I know?
That is not how you cite a source.
Okay, I guess in journalism.
I'm not an academician, but I know that
Nowadays,
much.
that's how they cite sources, because I tell you what, remember when I was citing all my sources and I sent it and Commercial Appeal wouldn't publish it because it was too controversial? Because I
Yeah.
had all
They
the
just
sources
didn't
right
want it.
there?
Well,
They
it-
said it
it's-
was too
it's hard
controversial.
to get
It
into.
wasn't how you.
we've got to support just, yeah, if y'all write a blog, send it over to just my, blow those other guys. off.
Yeah. JR will
Commercial
do it.
Appeal, forget it.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Daily
I
Memphian,
just
forget
don't
it.
know. Sometimes.
They won't even consider my blog. And then Tri-State Defender, I used to write stuff, they won't publish it. Tri-State Defender won't publish anything.
I need to see, this must be a new company.
They might
Covell
publish it,
Mining.
you can give it a shot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, mine, you know, I just had a bunch of like where city council had basically rubber stamped everything for the last 4 years for MLGW.
Hmm.
And Mark Russell from Commercial Appeal came back and said, no, that's not true. And I'm like, no, literally, it's right here. Click these links. And it was too hard for him. So no. he
It
said
was,
no.
it was too factual.
Yeah. but,
So as far as, you said protect your office, protect the aquifer is coming up. They're gonna have their own scale that they're presenting.
yeah, and she's also, yeah, she's working on, she'll be there on Wednesday. I can introduce you to her and then
But
after
the
the
thing
meeting,
about
she
it
can probably
is-
answer, have all the information that
I
you're.
wonder if we can
Okay.
reach out to her before then, because you want factual data, and I'm not sure where she's getting her info.
So they got a $5 million grant to study the whole water system and everything a while ago. What was that with
That's
University of?
University of
Memphis?
Through University of Memphis,
That's
yeah, I
University-
saw that.
Connected- She was in that.
So is
Yeah,
that,
She gets some of that, yeah.
Yeah. She was
so
part of
her
that.
data is coming from
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. mhm.
Okay.
And that's how
Mhm.
they know there's the water, it's not older water anymore. It's newer water,
Yeah.
which means it's
Who
starting. to
said it was
clone
older water?
No, it's not anymore. I mean, that's usually the sell on Memphis is that we have old artesian water. That's no longer the case.
Oh,
We've
okay,
used
because she's
it up.
talking about the level we've
Right.
reached as far as draw.
Yes, yeah. Right.
And
So,
that's where they're arguing that resource is declining.
Yeah.
yeah, or, like, there was an issue with the TVA well was starting to contaminate the
Yes.
drinking well, and they had to stop using that well. And they're supposed to be fixing that issue, but nobody's holding
not.
TVA accountable. And so as a result,
That's an
there's
issue that needs to
arsenic
be
and other thing
addressed.
that, other contaminants that are very close to now our drinking
The
supply.
thing about it is, the thing about this water thing, increasing the rate, if it's less likely if the rates don't increase, the industrial rates don't increase, why would you build a gray water treatment plant?
Yeah, there's no need for
Yeah.
them to build it if
If-
they're getting it for practically free.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
The drinking water.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be using drinking water except to drink.
Right.
Is
And
that
that's-
gray water facility that y'all keep referencing the old water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant?
Maxim,
Yeah, Mac is something.
Maxwell.
So what?
Yes,
Where?
but
where
it's
is- where-
too small right
who-
now
who they
to handle
servicing?
all of their water.
That was my question.
I think just the city right now.
Just the city, and the city's using
where
gray
is who
water.
service?
Max-
As
the
far as
Maxim,
the
the.
water.
No,
treatment
they
plant.
said they had closed that down, remember?
I
in
thought it was
the
still
eight- no.
operation.
The 2018 article that you sent me,
Yeah,
they halted use of it because that's where the contaminants were. But then I came across a 2019 article, and evidently whomever was supposed to ensure that they stopped did
was from
not,
the
so
Allen plant?
they didn't stop.
So the Allen plant
Yes,
is the water that was coming from it was contaminating the water that was.
from
supposed
the
to go-
well that services, yes,
Okay,
which is that Maxim
so they need to,
well.
there's something over there that needs to be repaired from
Yes,
TVA
and
side or?
EPA got involved and was supposed to have the mandates for them to clean it up. And
Oh, they just
not
built a new one.
EPA, not, did I say TV?
you said
EPA,
Yeah,
yeah.
They should just build a new one, their space.
yeah.
They don't want to build. They say it's too costly. That's what the whole thing was, what they were talking about, the gray water that they were going to build. They were like, it's too costly
For TBA or for?
for
TVA.
TVA, yes.
But it's
And
not.
So the alternative is that water goes where?
What water?
Straight into the river as raw sewage.
Yeah,
No, it gets, well, to a certain degree, they have to bring the temperature down or whatever in order for it to be able to deposit it back into the river, but yeah, it does get.
To the ecosystem.
Yeah,
'cause that's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
got.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's the same, I'm asking
Effluent,
because
they call
as
it.
soon as when they announced this XAI thing, I was thinking the same thing. They gotta have water to cool computers. You can't, it's right there at the river, but you can't pump it directly into the
Mhm.
river because of temperature. I knew that. So I was wondering,
Why can't you use the?
You can't use the river because the river goes up and down and it's not a reliable source.
Well, that's true. I forgot.
That's,
Yes, the
I
Mississippi-
already, I
yeah,
looked
it
into that.
does.
it's been down for a while.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
been
true.
going down for.
But see, that's what my friend, the engineer in Germantown was saying. that the Blue Oval had done. They had gotten a certain amount of water from somewhere, not the aquifer, but they had gotten a specific amount of water that they needed, and they were keeping it in their system. They were just
So they
reusing
got
that
the
specific.
storage tanks. They got big storage tanks, like TVA said, they build those too, huge storage tanks.
Well, not just.
They got
What she said. is
one
the
amount.
Water that they're using.
Yeah, and that, what, in
They
the,
use it. and
Well-
it cycles through something, they use the same water.
So, I
There
mean,
may
is
be
that
s-
possible for this XAI?
I think every
They're
facility
gonna
may
have
be
to build
different.
out something anyway,
Yeah.
because the amount of water they're gonna be needing to use. The plumbing for that building won't serve them this much water that fast. That building wasn't built to
So they're gonna have to
process
make
this much
modifications.
water.
but-
It's got regular plumbing like an office building would have. You can't pump that much water through there. So
I
they're gonna
see.
have to build out
Somebody else
something
joined.
to draw in some more water anyway.
I see
Susan.
Susan just joined. Welcome, Susan. Hey, Ruth, do you happen to have the link to the agenda? Can you, send that to Susan in the
Right.
chat? Did I send
Yes.
it to you?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so
I mean,
much.
I feel like we do need a gray water plant, if that's what that water treatment plant was, and it's
It
not
wasn't.
serviceable right now.
It wasn't a
need
gray
to-
water plant, I don't think, from that article I read. Let me see.
This was a wastewater treatment plant. is what it's
Yes,
called.
that's what it was.
So they were treating it to be able to just go back into regular customer usable water versus just being.
No, it was made, I worked there when it opened.
What was it,
and-
what was it called?
The water
It
treatment.
was the North Wastewater Treatment Plant back in the 70s and early 80s. And the water would come in and it was sewage,
Okay.
dirty water. It was not storm water, it was sewage. And there were 16 huge tanks, and each one had biomes in it and different types of bacteria that cleaned it at different levels until it went out into the river completely clear.
And this was the one next to the Allen plant we're talking about.
No, where,
No,
where
this is
is
on the
yours
north side.
located? North side.
This is by the
So
DeWitt
which-
Spain Airport.
Okay,
Oh,
Gotcha.
so in Millington.
no, not. this.
No, North Second Street.
Oh, okay.
Well, is that plant still open?
I don't think.
I
it-
was,
What was it?
well,
You remember what it was called?
was the Maxwell.
See, this is not, let me look behind this, because that's interesting.
I was gonna say, is that if they could modify, like they're doing with the XAI and modifying the Electrolux building, if this is a facility that's still, it just needs to be modified or made bigger.
So I sent the 2019 update of TVA's use of contaminated well water after 2018 statement of commitment. Shelby County it says Shelby County put strict limits on TVA wells.
Well, they did, but did they enforce it?
Well, but this was in 19, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And,
The health
Protect
department.
Our Aquifer got involved, so.
Yeah.
The
don't
county
know why that would-
ultimately imposed the
I
new
guess we-
restrictions in response because of their requests.
See, I don't know
It's
anyone
sad.
personally from Protect the Aquifers, but that would be interesting to ask them of why that isn't their push. Why a gray water plant isn't their biggest.
You can,
No, that
email
is.
Sarah.
Yeah, they are definitely pushing for, they're very excited that is back open and that people are talking about it, the gray water facility plant.
Okay,
That is something they have been pushing for a while and it's gotten no traction. So now all of a sudden people are talking about it again. So, yeah, I would say they're very excited.
that's good. to know.
Susan,
See,
welcome
this
to the
right
group.
here.
Were
A
you just
recent
listening in or did you want to
study
share?
investigation.
Did you have a question?
I gotta run, yeah. Anything y'all need to talk to me about?
No, so
So,
So what's the script for Wednesday? Is that-
Well,
They
I'm just
say-
gonna, as far as on my water stuff, I'm gonna say that I believe industrial rates have to increase. That's all I'm gonna say.
okay, so
Just-
you're gonna talk on water too?
general,
All right, yeah.
Yeah, just general, and and to incent,
Increase.
water development
Mm-hmm,
and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. And, also, I'm gonna talk about the financials specifically, and also concerned about this explosion in grinder table grinder contract awards out of nowhere, it's just like.
I'm gonna
What
try and
was the
do
second
some
thing you
more
said?
research on that.
Yeah,
What was the second thing you said? You said the rates, and what was the second thing you said?
The rates,
The financials.
the financials,
Okay.
just looking at their production, I'm hoping that MLG&W sends me a lot of times they'll send it to me the day before. You'll get it just the same time I will. But if they don't send it, that'll be a concern there. If they're not getting the financials out. And then also to talk about, I didn't come the last time I was wanting to wait until the the first quarter was done.
mm-hmm.
But, then I'll talk about how far behind I am.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
hopefully they will address a little bit.
I'm
Uh-oh,
sorry,
Glenda,
I'm just reading.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Glenda, what you're gonna talk about? You're gonna have to, if you're talking about the expansion, they've already approved it though.
I don't care.
Okay,
I'll see y'all
Wednesday.
right.
Wednesday.
Yep.
Hi,
Thanks,
Josh.
Joe.
Take care.
All right, see you.
I'll,
Is that
What
I'm gonna
expansion?
mention the water as well.
what we just discussed about the, board expansion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, Susan does not have a question, just an interested listener. Okay, cool. We're talking now about, this coming Wednesday, the MLGW board meeting is at 8:30 and what we're all gonna comment something. You don't have to comment. You can just go and listen and
Please
kind of
come
learn.
if you can, please.
Yes, anybody who can make it, the more people, the commission, Board of Commissioners definitely are very aware when a lot of people show up. Chet emailed me from, Get the Lead Out Memphis. He
Mhm.
said
He'll be
a
there.
lot of people will be there commenting on MLGW dragging their feet in terms of the lead that's still, in our system whenever they change out pipes. They're supposed to give out filters, that sort of thing. And there's certain areas of Memphis where on the residential side, they have lead water pipes and, don't have any type of financial setup to get those replaced. This meeting, is that you, Ruth, typing?
Yes, I did put up that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. So about it being reported. So, he will be there and I have a feeling it's gonna be a lively meeting because of course the last MLGW board meeting was 2 hours before the big huge announcement of the Elon Musk XAI coming to Memphis. So there was not a whisper of it in
Not a
the
word,
board
not a
meeting.
word.
And it's now 2 weeks later. And so people have had plenty of time to digest and there's still a lot of information that's lacking on there. What is Memphis actually getting out of it? So
And
I have a
did you
feeling it'll be
not-
a good meeting.
Did you not see the post? They're saying that, he's ready, he'll be ready to open in August.
Yes, I did see that, which I don't,
August.
yeah, I
Yes.
don't, cause he had a one-on-one with Doug McGowan to specifically ask him about the power. And anybody who's looked at the outage
Outage.
map just now with that rainstorm that came through, and we have, well, what's it? I don't know what it is right now, but it was 43,000. You can't see it, can you?
No,
Can you see
they're
it?
for outages Saturday, like I
Hold
said.
it back further.
Makes sense.
There's always.
I don't know
Oh,
why,
it's
it looks
not
white on
coming
my
through.
side, I don't know why.
Can you put it in the chat? You can't put it in
I
the
can't
chat.
put it in the chat,
That's okay.
but if you
It's
go up on.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's 4,347 people, pretty much all throughout Memphis,
Where was it? I
Bartlett.
heard on the,
um,
on my way over here,
Is Elon going to get his power underground?
Well, that's,
It's already on the
Okay,
ground over there.
okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm
the
joking.
the underground argument is only good if you're in an area with no trees, which as we know.
they're not
is not
any
us.
trees over by Electrolux, I don't think.
I mean, that's a wooded area next door, but I don't think I think their power is already on the ground. over
I'm
there.
pretty sure. it
Yeah, and there
is.
are areas like in East Memphis and Millington,
think-
for example, they have had, but you know, it's only good for 25 years and needs to be maintained, and it hasn't been maintained. So guess what?
What's on
They're
the
having
list for
outages now.
24
The
25?
underground
Oh,
wires.
okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's got to be, maintenance has
No,
got
it's
to
above
be.
ground,
I'm
it's
trying
above
to,
ground.
Yeah.
I guess I don't,
But
I
there are
can't
no
picture
trees anywhere
exactly
near it,
where
though.
Electrolux
I think,
is.
Oh, hold on, yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we have 10 minutes until the library closes.
Okay,
So
okay.
any final remarks or billing issues, anything else
About the back out.
about MLGW? Just the upcoming board
This is the
meeting.
Allen plant, that's the one.
And
wastewater
I'll post a
facility
link for those who want to
President's
listen
Island.
in.
Right here.
I think it's the same link every time, Ruth. Do you remember? It's the same, isn't it? You can just bookmark it. Yeah.
The satellite.
I have it on my iPad in a different place
Yeah.
than I can get to because I'm not technologically savvy.
No, it's
how to
it's
print.
keep it easy, you know? You can go to mlgw.com and click on the link from there,
Oh,
but
to join the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they'll do the live stream. You just click on, it says, live stream meeting and just click on it.
Yeah.
I watch the Board of Mayor and Aldermen on my TV because the World Wide Web is on my television now.
there you
Aren't
go.
I savvy?
You could get it up in living color, right? Full.
Yeah, that's
Very
what
big.
that new core steel is.
All right. Well, should we wrap up, everybody? Is there anything else? Any other comments?
This has been good.
Yeah, it was a very productive meeting. And we'll just keep at it and
I don't know, I don't know where Susan lives or if she knows of anyone, if she's having billing issues or if she knows of anyone who is still having billing issues, because we're still dealing with delayed bills.
Mhm. Delayed bills or, you know, 0 meter readings.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, well, that's part of the, no bill because there is no
Right,
reading.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
they're calling it delayed. Oh, she's on delayed bill. I looked at the, like, what the heck?
And if you don't know, Glenda used to work in the billing department in MLGW, so she knows. They can't pull. one up.
Germantown is getting water meter
Oh, yeah, I heard-
readers.
yes.
I'll see.
Did you hear this, Glenda?
What? I'm sorry.
Germantown, they voted to go ahead and install the smart water meters.
I saw that, Ruth. Who is the manufacturer?
They're from Sweden or
Oh,
Denmark.
see what you can
Okay.
get on the manufacturer, because that's not,
That's not Honeywell.
no.
Because
So it's a different
MLGW's been using
manufacturer.
Honeywell, yeah.
And then we need to research and see what we can find out historically about any issues they've had since being in service.
Mhm.
We didn't vote on it. They decided on it and decided to tell us 2 weeks before they're doing it.
What?
And no opt-out option? You
No
couldn't
opt-out
opt out?
option.
Are you
Whoa.
serious?
They
Wow.
can't hire people to come read the water meters. They can't hire people and keep people hired to read our water
How
meters.
much do they pay them?
I don't know. I'm not a meter reader. I'm not meter reader material.
No, the question is how much they're paying them, and I mean, they're mobile collectors, there are numerous options these days. As opposed to.
agree with you.
smart.
Yeah, wow.
They can,
Okay.
one driver can do a cycle, I
Mhm.
mean, in a day for that area, for Germantown. There were other options. I'm like, I dare you, just make this decision without bringing it before the,
The citizens.
yeah. I mean, do they think they're private? They call themselves private, Ruth?
Well, they're a city that's they do think they're special. I don't know if they think they're private, but they're special.
So I'm saying, who owns, the city of Germantown owns the water company?
Yes,
Mhm.
it's
So
their
then that
water.
means that the citizens own it. So I'm like, I dare you.
Yeah, y'all just had elections, didn't you, just recently?
That's all.
No, they're coming up.
Oh, wow, this is interesting.
And you know what? I've been invited to have coffee with a guy that's going to run,
Uh-huh,
and I'm going to make this an issue.
yes.
You
I-
should.
How are they not seeing and hearing? It's in the news all the time. And they're just gonna go ahead. I mean, we're right next door.
But you see what I'm saying? That just proves my point the more, Ruth.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude, Glenda, I 100% get it because I'm on the Natural Resources Commission, and the guy who's running that, who's over that whole department, is retiring, and I'm on the first meeting and my first question is about those meters, and his, oh no, not this,
Are you
because he
serious?
thought he's just gonna, this is it, it's just all taken care of.
Wow.
And
See how they
bef-
don't, they devalue the mindset of the people they serve.
Mm, yes,
I have,
we have to keep fighting back and saying no. Mm-mm.
yeah.
We put you there.
Yeah.
it won't be the first time I fought back,
Yeah,
so
good.
gonna
Ruth.
do it.
All right. Well, the library's fixing to kick us out, so we have got to say goodbye for right now.
I'm sorry.
Thank you
Jen.
for joining.
Good to
us,
see you.
Ruth and Susan,
But
and thanks for
I
coming
saw
out here.
that. I see Ray.
all right.
Have a good evening. Be safe.
You too.
If you take
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You all take care.
take 55, you get off on Mallory.